Agents against the use of fake trade documents to evade taxes or risk sanctions. Plus, some international news this afternoon as rescuers race against time to find survivors in the rubble more than 48 hours after Morocco's deadliest earthquake in more than 6 decades. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you in the next 60 minutes if you stay with us. Let's start off the afternoon with this. President Kufuor has described as dangerous the comments by former President John Dramani Mahama suggesting the next NDC government will balance out the justices in the Supreme Court. According to the President, the concept as introduced by the flag bearer of the NDC is alien to the country and must serve as a basis to reject the NDC come election 2024.
Who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges. Not only are these concepts of, quote, MPP and, quote, NDC judges new in our public discourse, they are also extremely dangerous and represent the most brazen attack on the independence of the judiciary by an allegedly responsible politician of the Fourth Republic. They provide another reason, if more were needed, why right-thinking citizens should ensure the defeat in 2024 of the man whom the first special prosecutor identified as government official number 1 in the still unresolved Airbus bribery scandal. I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute my thoughts to this.
Well, my colleague Eric Mawenegbata is at the Ghana Bar Conference and he's joining us to provide us some perspectives and more of the happenings there. Eric, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on the program. Talk to us about the happenings at the Bar Conference.
Right, and so we've been hearing from the president quite clearly, not just spoke in relation to those comments by former President Mahama as well, but was quite vocal on matters relating to corruption under his administration. He makes the argument and makes it very strongly that no government official who's been accused of corruption or corrupt practices has been proven or found guilty by any of the institutions tasked or mandated to carry out investigations, and that the notion that he is a clearing agent cannot be the case. It's one of the things that he's been speaking quite strongly to, and all throughout his responses of addressing that particular concern, there were murmurs in the auditorium from the lawyers, particularly when he touched on that very funny subject of whether or not he is a clearing agent. And by and large, that's been the area of conversation really. And the perception of corruption in relation to judges as well has been one that continues to come to the fore every now and then, with the Afrobarometer report underlines pointing to increasing citizen perception in relation to corruption amongst the judiciary. Well, the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Saba Tokonu as well, she addressed the lawyers at this ongoing 23rd Bar Conference, where she, amongst many other things, addressed certain practices by members of not just the judiciary, but by lawyers as well, which feeds into the corruption, particularly in matters or cases in relation to land litigation. We can take a listen to exactly what her concerns are and what it is that lawyers can do in helping to address some of these challenges.
It is important to remember that for every case unduly delayed, for every murky piece of legal landscape created, many potential investors are driven away. I am therefore glad to report that strong steps are being taken to assist registrars extensively review their processes from commencement to execution, and for gaps in the integrity of their administrative duties to be filled with clear directions. The objective is to ensure that case and time management is done effectively for both citizens and judges, so that judges do not wear robes, citizens do not fuel their cars or pay transport to get to court to find that out of 20 cases listed for a day, maybe business is done in only 3 or 4. That practice must stop.
So, well, clearly, we're looking at efforts to make sure that justice delivery in the country reaches a notch higher. Eric, what more has been happening? The Bar Association president was there, and he also addressed the conference.
Exactly, and ahead of this conference, there's been a great expectation as to what the response of the bar would be, particularly in relation to an earlier conference held by NDC lawyers and the commentaries that have come through. Some responses have already been heard from the president, who's described some of the comments by former President Mahama as dangerous. While in relation to what has been a very obvious attack on the Ghana Bar Association, the president questioned how it is that continuously we're having individuals or lawyers who are members of the bar associate themselves with political parties and continuing to denigrate the Ghana Bar Association and the judiciary in its entirety. He even questions the fact that they have stickers of the Ghana Bar Association very visible in their cars. And so why is it that we are allowing divisive politics become a part of them in ridiculing the bar and the judiciary? We can take a listen to him as well.
No one points in the direction of his hometown, his left hand. There is nothing to be gained when a group of lawyers allow politicians to use them to denigrate the legal profession and judiciary with its attendant ridicule on social media platforms. It is self-destructive. The toxic and divisive nature of partisan politics in this country is unfortunately being replicated when it comes to discussions related to matters affecting the legal profession and administration of justice. Our partisan colleagues give active encouragement and support for political hawks to insult and denigrate the leadership of the bar and the judiciary. When such partisan hawks are encouraged by overtly partisan members of the GBU to insult the leadership of the GBU, it is not Yahweh Champion who suffers. It is not Anthony Fosin Jr. who suffers. It is not Benson Luchukwu who suffers. It is the name of the Ghana Bar. The irony of it all is that these same partisan lawyers have the membership sticker of the GBU proudly emblazoned on the waistcoats of their parties.
So, Eric, Mawenegbata, we heard from the GBA president speaking there, but getting to the latter end of the video, we anticipated the reaction of the members of the bar who were present there. Talk to us about how they reacted to the comment by the president and then, if you like, a response also or another comment by the president.
Well, it was a resounding round of applause when he finished his statement, seeking to suggest that a lot of the lawyers who are here buy into the commentary, because it was not just in relation to what has been the attacks on the GBA and the judiciary from the perspective of the Ghana Bar Association, but he also took head-on concerns on other matters having to do with finances to basic education, which has been widely spoken about by the Africa Education Watch, the challenges with illegal mining, which is destroying forest reserves and water bodies, and also matters of corruption, which he's asking that they are demanding a lot more from the government in dealing with corruption, galamsey, and the likes.
Eric, thank you so much for joining us with those updates. Still with us here on TV3 and also a website, 3news.com, for more of the fallout from the Ghana Bar Conference there. To some other subjects this afternoon, and the Electoral Commission says it remains committed carrying out the limited voter registration exercise despite the threat of an injunction. The Electoral Commission's pivotal decision to confine the upcoming limited voter registration exercise to its district offices rather than the electoral areas has come under intense scrutiny as the process kickstarts tomorrow. The decision by the Electoral Commission to conduct the upcoming limited voter registration exercise exclusively at its district offices rather than electoral areas has sparked controversy among various political parties and civil society groups. 2 private citizens initiated legal proceedings against the Electoral Commission, challenging the decision to hold the limited voter registration exercise solely at its district offices. The National Democratic Congress, together with 4 other political parties, the Convention People's Party, the All People's Congress, the Liberal Party of Ghana, and the Great Consolidated People's Party, also filed legal suits against the Electoral Commission.
I strongly urge the Electoral Commission to facilitate the registration exercise in all its electoral areas to allow for easy access and a reduced burden on the citizenry in their quest to register.
Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Osari, has remained resolute in defending the Commission's decision. He insists the decision was well-founded.
We concede and we know that some places are very far away from the district offices of the Electoral Commission. And these places are scattered in all parts of the country. And when we did the analysis, we noticed that about 80% of all the districts, we wouldn't be having problems with distance and other associated challenges. People should take this particular advantage, and within the 21 days, including the weekends, they should be able to go to our offices and register.
According to him, claims of the Electoral Commission disenfranchising eligible voters are baseless.
If there is any institution that is committed to ensuring that all eligible Ghanaians register to vote, that will be the Electoral Commission. The EC is an institution of the state. We are funded by the taxpayer. We roll this out. If there are challenges, we'll go back to the drawing board.
Well, just a few hours for the process to begin, the Ghana Federation of Disability says the Electoral Commission's decision to organize the limited voters registration exercise to its district offices will disenfranchise persons with disabilities. Spokesperson of the Federation of the Disability, Dr. Mensah, at a media briefing today, said the Federation is ready to take any step necessary if provisions are not made to address their grievances. Let's touch base with Dr. Mensah for some reactions on what exactly they mean by taking the necessary steps to ensure that the provisions are made to address their concerns. Dr. Asamoah, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you. What exactly do you mean by taking all the steps necessary? Are you also, just like the 2 private citizens who have filed suit against the Electoral Commission, considering taking legal actions against the EC?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to all your viewers and listeners. Yes, with the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, what we mean when we say necessary steps is that we're going to exhaust all the avenues of engagement with the EC. We have begun the process already. Even last week we had a meeting with them, and we continue to engage them. But as to the final step, you know, we have a leadership structure. Our leadership will meet and take that final decision. But our goal in all this is to ensure that persons with disability have the opportunity to register and that they are not denied their constitutional right to register and consequently to vote in the general election.
Dr. Asamoah, thank you for those preliminary submissions. So, beyond the concerns that you're raising and how you intend to address them, talk to us exactly about how the limited voter registration exercise, if the status quo does not change and it still goes ahead at the EC's district offices, will impact on your members having access to the process.
Yeah. You know, the limited voters registration, as it's going on, if our members are not allowed to register, then, you know, subsequently it means that they cannot also vote. And that is a denial of their constitutional rights, because they are also citizens of the land, and they must have the right to participate in the governance process. So if everybody is taking part in choosing the president of Ghana, then why can't these citizens of the land do that? And it is a responsibility of the Electoral Commission to make sure that they create the enabling environment that will allow these citizens of Ghana to also register and cast their vote, so that they also take part in the constitutional process. So that is all we are asking for. We are not asking for anything out of the ordinary. We are only asking that we have the opportunity to pursue our constitutional rights and take part in the governance process.
Dr. Samoa, thank you so much for joining us with those updates. Dr. Mensah was a spokesperson of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization. To some other subjects this afternoon, the Ghana Police Service has secured an injunction to stop the minorities occupied BOG protest on Tuesday. The leadership of the minority and the police have been in a marathon meeting. Kamala Kluche is joining us for some more updates on this development. Kamala, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What is the latest on that? Is the minority going ahead with their planned demonstration, or the police have had their way?
It's been quite a very, very heated meeting that lasted for more than 1.5 hours. But have actually accused the police of the time that was given to them to be at the meeting. They were here before 10, but they started after 10. However, we did not agree on a lot of things. One of note, the first, one of the now is a former chairman of the PMC, stepped out of that meeting angrily, indicating that the meeting is of absolutely is of no use to him, because it does appear that the police have taken a stand not to allow the protest to go on, because they are not really agreeing on the route. For instance, the routes that
Right, we'll get back to you for some more updates on the happenings, but if you could reposition yourself so we have a clearer connection. We're having some challenges hearing you audibly, bringing us updates on the happenings after the marathon meeting between the minority members of parliament and the police service over the occupied BOG protests. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. My name is Noble Crosby, and we're back with more stories after the break. Please stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You are a major stakeholder in nation building. Your voice matters. Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations, break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well informed throughout the week. Start your day with us.
We give the leaders the mandate to govern our affairs. We have a responsibility to hold them to account. It begins here. Start your day with us. Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Start your day well informed.
Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Abiambofo, and William Asiedu. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban lifestyle radio.
Get ready for another cultural explosion like never before. On 21st September, Africa will witness an ultimate celebration of African diversity and flavor at the 3FM Afro Connect event. This is the place to experience the magic of African arts and creativity. You also get to unite in a sizzling jollof war competition, igniting a culinary showdown. Will Côte d'Ivoire hold the jollof war title? So whether you're passionate about food, art, games, or simply making new connections, 3FM Afro Connect event on the 21st of September is the place to be. Venue, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. To sell, call 053-220-0927. 3FM Afro Connect, connecting Africa and beyond. Brought to you by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. The 3FM Afro Connect is proudly sponsored by
the age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix
and Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye ono soko.
You're welcome back to the broadcast. Now, the minority leader and the NDC MPs are meeting the Greater Accra Police Command concerning its planned demonstration on the removal of the central bank governor. My colleague Komla Kluche has been there. He's following the development. He's joining us for some updates. Komla, thank you again for joining us. Good afternoon to you. What has been the outcome of this important meeting?
Well, the meeting has reached a deadlock. It appears the minority is not making, for want of a better word, any sense of what the police are indicating. The route as suggested by the police when they had originally suggested their original route, the police seem now, according to the minority, not to be even agreeing with the route that they suggested early on. For instance, the minority had alleged that this meeting, I can tell you, was a very heated one between members of the minority leadership and then the civil society groups that were here. I saw Bernard Mona, Duncan Amwa, Mensah Thompson, and a host of others who were here. In fact, the meeting actually ended abruptly where they stormed out of the meeting because no agreement was reached. But the minority is insisting that they are going to go ahead with tomorrow's planned demonstration. Theirs is to inform the police. They have informed the police, and they will go ahead with their meeting. In fact, they also allege that when they asked the Greater Accra commander of the routes that they would want them to take, they were unable to give them. They indicated that, it's a security zone. And they were suggesting, if it's a security zone, then give us the new route that you would want us to take. It does appear that they were unable to give them the routes to take. And so the minority stormed out of that meeting and they indicating that they are going to go ahead. Yes, is to inform them, and when they are done, then they will go ahead with it. Now, the Deputy Minority Leader, Ama Kufuor, has been accusing the Ghana Police Service of doing everything to thwart the efforts for the success of the demonstration. This, he has been speaking a short while ago, together with Mahama Yariga, who is the legal representative.
Let's please, can you step down for us? Yes, sir. That's good.
I think it's very clear to us that the police are determined to obstruct and basically make sure that they disrupt our planned protest. We have come today to work with the police on the road, which is really the issue of this agreement. We came with compromises. One of the biggest issues the police have been insisting on has to do with the fact that the Bank of Ghana is a security zone. But tell us, where are the limits of the security zone? So we can end our protest at those limits. The police service of Ghana, the regional police command, could not tell us where the limits are. We have even made compromise and suggested, okay, since the Bank of Ghana is the security zone and you couldn't even tell us the limits, can we end even close to that area? We even proposed the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. Guess what? The police will not tell us the limits, but they are saying that they are where they are. It is very, very clear to us.
They walked out of the meeting and came back.
They walked out, which was very clear that they had to go and listen to some instructions from somewhere. Came back and said that, oh, well, we are not changing our position. Go to the Independence Square. It is very clear to us. We've spent more than 3 hours today. It is very clear to us that the police are just doing everything to trample on our rights as Ghanaians, as representatives of the people of Ghana, and especially our right guaranteed in this constitution to protest. So it is clear for us that we've done everything we can to work with the police. This police will not work with us. They are not ready to even listen to us. They are not ready to compromise with us. But we are clear in our minds that we have the right to protest, and we will do so.
So what have you concluded that tomorrow's demonstration is going to come off?
Yeah, so as leader told you, when they invited us to come here at 10 o'clock, we're here 5 minutes before time. They held us for close to 30 minutes before the meeting. The law simply says give them notice. We have given them notice. They said they had issues with the route and the termination point. We oblige, we've come, we've discussed the route, they agree with the route, they disagree with the termination point, but the law doesn't say we must agree on a termination point. And we have given them a termination point that we think that every, reasonable person will accept.
So you heard the voices of Emmanuel Kufuor, who is a Deputy Minority Leader in Parliament, as well as Muntaka Mubarak speaking there. We'll be Mahama Yariga speaking there, beg your pardon. We'll be getting more on the happenings of this marathon meeting between the minority MPs and the police service concerning the Occupy BOG protest in the subsequent bulletins. But to some other subjects this afternoon, the Western Regional Minister Kwabena Daku Mensah has inaugurated a 9-member committee to investigate circumstances which led to the explosion at a quarry site at Tantwa-Boso in the Shama district. The 9-member committee, which was set up by the Regional Coordinating Council, is expected to be chaired by the Regional Coordinating Director. Other members of the committee include the Minerals Commission, the Ghana National Fire Service, the Police Service, Ghana Health Service, Environmental Protection Agency, NADMO, the Shama Works and Engineer, Shama, and the Assembly member for the affected areas. Now, the committee has been given 3 weeks to present a full report on their findings. Let's speak with a correspondent, Park Kojo Peters, who has been following the development. But before we speak to Park Kwesi Peters, these are what has been coming out from the meeting.
Which will be chaired by the Chief Director, the Minerals Commission,
the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Health Service, Environmental Protection Agency, NADMO, Shama, the Works Engineer in Shama, and then the Assembly Member of the affected area. We are also giving them 3 weeks to present us a full report on the causes of the exploration and also to look out for other causes that we need to check in future. We also want to establish whether the company was up to speed with its own safety guidelines and licensing that they are supposed to go through.
So that was the Western Regional Minister. Let's speak with Pakujo Peters, our Western Regional correspondent. Pakujo, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you. Bring us updates on the explosion a day after it happened.
Yeah, because we are still at the explosion site. We just came here with some authorities, which includes the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, as well as that of the Environmental Protection Agency. They came to assess the current situation on site. What they are telling us, they both come to the conclusion that the company in question, that is STA Axams Enterprise, was operating illegally. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, his men were here a few weeks ago to stop them from operating. So it believed that they have been operating at the blind side of authorities. What they are saying, maybe that was the reason why they were operating at night on that fateful Saturday evening. So they called for the arrest of the Chief Executive Officer of this very company. And they say they are also going to conduct their personal investigations to ascertain what actually triggered that explosion, as well as whether they indeed were storing some explosions at site.
Right, Pakujo, we understand rescue efforts are still underway to find some survivors, if you like, but what numbers are we looking at now? How has it been so far?
Yeah, because as we speak now, we still have 5 persons who have died, including 3 Ghanaians and 2 Chinese nationals, the male and the female. Then 3 other Chinese nationals are unaccounted for. They are still missing. So probably that has triggered the need for the rescue effort. But per what we are hearing, they can't embark on that rescue effort anytime soon. They are anticipating that there might be some chemical around or some explosives somewhere in case that a rescue effort is continued or is can trigger another explosion. So authorities have called for an expert to come around and assess the situation on the ground before they can continue with that rescue effort.
Pakujo, thank you so much for joining us. In the meantime, the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Martin Ayisi, has confirmed that STA Adams Enterprise was operating illegally. According to him, officials from the Commission had earlier stopped them from operating but went behind authorities to operate.
What is illegal is illegal. It's as simple as that. It's like this Galamsey site. It's an illegal site. When you pick intelligence, what do? You go there and try to stop them. If you need security help, you provide them. So the person or the enterprise did not have all the necessary documentation approvals to do this kind of thing. Because if it was a properly permitted activity, we don't. I mean, how do you store whatever led to, if I can call it explosives for now, whatever led to the explosion? I mean, if my inspectors are telling me that it is the same place that the people were living, nobody will have permitted that. Because in the first way, Ubeye Bibisana said, you're being inspected site to tell you cannot store it here, you cannot store it here, you can store it here. We have to do the magazine, they have to inspect, permit it, what type of explosives, all those things. The law is quite, strict on that. So if this happened, it is because it is an illegal operation. But at least I take pride in the fact that the inspectors came to stop them, that they cannot do it. And then maybe they outsmarted them and all those. And then they have a very effective Sound Winners Inquiry Association in time that work with the police and the commission. So I don't know whether that's why they were doing things in the night or whatever. We can't tell. As I said, the full investigations will at least for now, as far as our records are concerned, they are not permitted.
You're watching Midday Live on TV3. We're back with more stories. After this break, please stay with us.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamse.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
What's your take on an ideal guy?
I'm attracted to sapiosexuals.
Oh, sapiosexuals. Cool.
The smart guys.
See, I am one.
What's your take for the constitutional review?
See, they are really disturbing. They are worrying. Review. Constitutional review. The call for a constitutional review is not a bad call.
Really?
At all. Especially in the light of the fact that some laws have outlived their usefulness.
It was just gentlemen. I think Afena-Jan.
Afena-Jan? Who doesn't know Afena-Jan? Excellent footballer. Dangerous. Tactical.
There's this show on TV. It's a music show. Mentor.
I like Mentor. See, my family watches Mentor. Everybody. Hey, see, everywhere Mentor.
Where edition?
Eh?
Where edition?
Mentor's gonna take you higher.
Don't be clueless. Stay on top of issues with 3news.com and tune in to Media General's radio platforms on the go using 3news.com.
Get ready for another cultural explosion like never before. On 21st September, Africa will witness an ultimate celebration of African diversity and flavor at the 3FM Afro Connect event. This is the place to experience the magic of African arts and creativity. You also get to unite in a sizzling jollof war competition, igniting a culinary showdown. Will Côte d'Ivoire hold the jollof war title? So whether you're passionate about food, art, games, or simply making new connections, 3FM Afro Connect event on the 21st of September is the place to be. Venue, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. To sell, call 053-220-0927. 3FM Afro Connect, connecting Africa and beyond.
Brought to you by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. The 3FM Afro Connect is proudly sponsored by
I'm a hero from zero up to hero.
Many with great voices have taken their chance on the biggest music reality show on screen.
Rap na kasa be my career.
Some stood out with their lyrical abilities and style. Mentor is back. The search is on. Who becomes the next winner? Mentor, the world awaits you.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Let's join Manu Afo for some business news. Manu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Cosby. Sign up for some business news. My name is Manu Afo, of course. In our first story, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has issued a stern warning to clearing agents, shipping lines and importers in the country to desist from falsifying information on trade documents, or they will face the full rigors of the law. This comes on the back of intelligence work by the division that revealed that 2 agents and importers were heavily engaged in such activities at the Tema port. Michael Lubudu has the rest of the story.
The authority revealed that the goods were intercepted and physically examined.
The physical examination results indicated that the descriptions of the goods on the bill of entry were different from the physical goods found in the container. The audit revealed that some of the imports declared by the identified companies were misdescribed, misclassified, and undervalued for the purpose of paying lower customs duties and taxes.
The actual descriptions of the consignment were footwears. What we found were footwears, bags, that's belts, underwear, galvanized pipes, etc. But they were all entered as knapsack sprayers. Subsequent to that revelation, Management Tax Internal Audit and the Post-Clearance Audit Unit to do further investigations into our system, especially on those two importers and their agents. And subsequent to that, we had 23 bill of entries which had earlier been entered within the same period and which had also been misdescribed as the same knapsack sprayers.
The authority added that it would scrutinize documents from the corporates from previous years for more anomalies.
We are equally expanding the investigation to cover 6 years earlier, because we have realized that, and other companies, because it may not be the only companies who are doing that, and there's a possibility of prosecuting all those involved. And we want to give a warning to everybody that you cannot hide. Whatever happens, it will come out. And those who are into that practice, some of them can come out even, it's always, they can come out and own up, and we'll see what we'll do.
In more stories, household spending is expected to reach 107.8 billion cedis in 2023, higher than the 101.9 billion recorded in 2019. According to Fitch Solutions' latest report dubbed Ghana Consumer Outlook, spending will expand to 112.1 billion cedis in 2024. The following 3 Business Desk reports has more.
Solutions, stubbornly high levels of inflation and fiscal consolidation policies will weigh on real purchasing power gains for more consumers in Ghana. It added that its forecast for consumer spending growth in the country over 2023 and 2024 is in line with its country risk team's forecast that economic growth will decelerate to 3% year-on-year in 2023 before rising to 3.7% over 2024. Inflation, it says, has become a major headwind to consumers in Ghana, and it is expected that it will remain elevated second half of 2023. The UK-based firm said interest rate hikes are pushing up household debt repayment costs, whilst the depreciating cedi is making consumer goods imports more expensive. It argued that the high levels of inflation, slower economic growth, rising levels of dissatisfaction with government policy, and interest rate hikes are all contributing to a downbeat Ghanaian consumer.
Still on the economy, fears of increases in cost of borrowing are rising amidst increasing treasury bill rates, which is nearing 32%. At the latest auction by the Bank of Ghana, government's treasury bills were oversubscribed, and yet interest rates still inched up, stirring up worry among market watchers. There's more in the following report. Results for treasury bills showed an oversubscription of about 13% of government's targets. At the end of the auction, government accepted bids totaling about 2.94 billion cedis against its target of about 2.6 billion cedis, with a chunk of the bids from the 91-day bill. About 2.2 billion was tendered for the 91-day bill, of which about 2.2 billion cedis was accepted. For the 182-day bill, about 322.5 million was tendered, but government accepted about 289 million cedis of the bids. And for the one-year bill, however, all bids tendered were accepted, realizing for government about 415.8 million cedis. Despite numerous concerns by market watchers, further reiterated by Ghana Association of Banks, interest rates continue to soar, with yields on the 364-day bill currently at 31.97% from 31.65% recorded last week. Interest rates on the 182-day bill soared marginally by 0.4%, and the 91-day bill also saw an increase to 27.78% from the 27.36% recorded last week. There are growing fears that the rate might exceed the 30% range, hitting about 40% or more by the end of the year. And experts are warning it will have dire implications on cost of borrowing for individuals and institutions. Away from that, Ghana's oil fields have experienced steady decline in output for the past 3 years. CEO of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, has called for a review of the country's business strategy in order to attract the needed investment into the sector. Though it is not new oil field, the coming on stream of the Jubilee Southeast well is expected to ramp up production numbers and bolster Ghana's oil revenue.
The estimation is that we can add about 30,000 barrels per stream day of oil. And that is huge. In fact, that would have meant that Jubilee will come back to its crown jewel status. And I think with this 30,000 addition, if it proves to be extractable in the amount that we estimated, then I think we would have gotten Jubilee back to 100,000 barrels of oil per stream day. And that would have been commendable, especially looking at the era where the upstream business is something churning out a lot of profit for producers. We are talking about oil prices not selling below 85. Oil had flirted around 90. And there's always a chance that we might have oil in the 80s to 90s for quite some time to come, even probably to the end of the year. So there couldn't be any other better time of adding more oil to your production portfolio than now.
And that's it for the business segment on Midday Live. My name is Minuafo. Stay with us. We have more news from the world of sports after the break.
You're welcome back to the broadcast. This is Jerry Kwampafo for some sports news. Rick, what's in the package this afternoon?
And so we bring you updates from Morocco, the tragic story of the earthquake. The footballers have reacted to the news.
Anyways, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, because the Moroccan national football players headed to a medical center in Agadir city to donate blood after a 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck the country in the late hours on Friday. More than 2,100 have been confirmed dead so far, and of the 2,059 injured, more than 1,400 are said to be seriously hurt, the Morocco's Interior Ministry said. Now, head coach of the Atlas Lions, Walid Regragri's Morocco's qualifying game for the Africa Cup of Nations was postponed on Saturday in the wake of the earthquake. Morocco had been scheduled to play Liberia in Agadir on the city's western coast, but the Moroccan Soccer Federation said the game had been postponed indefinitely after an agreement with the Confederations of African Football. Now, Morocco have already qualified for the 24-team African tournament, which begins in January in Ivory Coast. The team were also scheduled to play a friendly match in France against Burkina Faso on Tuesday. We'll be doing some more stories here on Midday, and we'll be focusing on the Black Stars because what we do know is that they'll be playing in their friendly game against Liberia. Now, they would hold a final training session at the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday evening ahead of the match against Liberia on Tuesday. Now, Ghana are coming off the back of securing qualification for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations after beating Central African Republic by 2-1 at the Baba Sports Stadium on Thursday. Liberia's qualifier against Morocco had to be postponed due to the earthquake, and it looks like the match between Ghana and Liberia would go on after Liberia arrived in the country on Monday. Now, the match will take place 4 p.m. on Tuesday as Chris Houghton continues to prepare his team for the Africa Cup of Nations, which takes place in the next few months. Well, let's do some more stories and focus on African football because Nigeria ended their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign on an emphatic note as Victor Osimhen netted an impressive hat-trick in a 6-0 win over Sao Tome. It was the 5th victory in 6 mini-league matches for the 3-time champions Nigeria, whose sole blemish was a stunning 1-0 home loss to Guinea-Bissau. Also, the Gambia continue writing history as they make it to the Africa Cup of Nations for a second time in a row. Goals from substitute Mohamed Badamosi in the last 11 minutes of regular time, and Gambia a point that they needed to seal back-to-back qualifications. Gambia are the 22nd qualifiers for the 13 January to 11 February tournament in Ivory Coast, with Burundi, Cameroon and Namibia competing for the final 2 slots. To some tennis now, where Novak Djokovic paid tribute to NBA legend Kobe Bryant following his 24th Grand Slam title at the US Open as he vowed to continue playing. The Serbian secured a 4th title at Flushing Meadows to move level with Margaret Court's record of major titles when he beat Daniil Medvedev in straight sets.
I thought of doing this T-shirt, eventually, if I get the chance to win the tournament. It was about 7 days ago. I didn't share it with anyone up to a few days ago when I asked my people to help me out to make these shirts. Kobe was close friend. We chatted a lot about the winner's mentality. When I was struggling, with an injury and trying to make my comeback, work my way back to the top of the game. He was one of the people that I rely on the most. He was always there for any kind of counsel, advice, any kind of support in a most friendly way. So of course, what happened a few years ago and him and his daughter passing hurt me deeply, and I thought, 24 is the jersey that he wore when he became a legend of Lakers and world basketball. So I thought, it could be a nice symbolic thing to.
Or may the soul of Kobe Bryant continue to rest in peace. But that's the note on which we wrap up the sports segment here on Midday Live. My name is Orir Kwampo. Up next is Entertainment with Noella.
Well, welcome to the entertainment segment of the Bulletin. Noella Donko is here for the latest in entertainment. Noella, it's been 9 weeks already in the GMB house. How's it going?
So far, so good. A few weeks to the grand finale. So evictions are tense now, and so we need the top 6 to go. So
Anyways,
people have to keep voting for their favorite. Let's get into some details of entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Noella Donko. Now, 9 weeks into the competition, Ghana's most beautiful contestants took up the challenge to promote Africa, representing some African countries and educating the audience on their unique culture and tradition. Nura from the northern region was crowned the star performer on the One Africa Night, but the journey was cut short for Central Region's Chumoa and Ashanti Region's Ebo on the night.
Thank you so much, Nagoze. Sanuku, my guest. For this hour, we say make we serve una proper Naija miss with sweet well.
Tasked to projecting the African culture through the lenses of some selected countries, contestants mounted the stage to showcase the unique culture of such countries. Being an ambassador of Rwanda, Sungsuma highlighted the dance, the resilience of the people, and the benefits of traveling to Rwanda.
It is unfortunate, yeah? You missed our just-ended gorilla naming ceremony. You look shocked. Naming ceremony for baby gorillas, where we named 19 baby gorillas in a total of 397 in the past 19 years.
Selam from the Volta region dives into the fascinating world of the Chonga ethnic group, sharing insights into their distinctive customs and stories.
I am from the Songa tribe, one of the largest and vibrant ethnic group in the country. you can identify us with our colorful dresses. Can you see? Yes.
Ebo from the Ashanti region and Central region's Chumwa gave their last performance as emissaries of Ethiopia and Angola.
As you enjoy the Eskista dance.
The diverse culture of the African continent was highlighted, and the northern region's Nura topped all as she walked home with the second best performance in the competition.
Naija no dey carry last. Indeed, Naija no dey carry last. Congratulations, Nura.
And Nigeria is a country that has that, banter with Ghana. It's a country I personally love, so I was so excited when I picked Nigeria. But then I had to sit down and do research and get to find out what important things about Nigeria can I project. And I was like, why not project a culture that has never been projected on the GMB stage before, which is the Hausa Fulani culture. So I decided to project their culture and what they do, how they have their marriage ceremonies, the foods they eat in Nigeria, and also the entertainment industry, and I added a little bit of fun and spice, and I think that's what made it full. There's no way you'd ever know that you emerge star performer until the end, you're eventually given the title. So I'm just so grateful.
And she gets products from Gino Tomatoes and the Techno Come On 20 series.
But in the end, 2 contestants were evicted.
So for cumulative performance, we are saving Na Ayele.
Na Ayele, you have another week to prove yourself. Congratulations, Na Ayele.
Unfortunately, that's how the journey ended for Ebo and Chuma. But make sure you keep voting for your favorite by dialing *713*13# or downloading the TV3 Reality app from the Play Store or App Store to vote. That's it for entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Wola Donko. International news is up next.
Let's now take a look at some of the stories outside the Ghanaian border.
Rescuers raced against time on Monday to find survivors in the rubble more than 48 hours after Morocco's deadliest earthquake in more than 6 decades, with more than 2,100 killed in a disaster that devastated villages in the high Atlas Mountains. Search teams from Spain and Britain are joining efforts to find survivors of the 6.8 magnitude quake that struck late on Friday night, 72 kilometers southwest of Marrakesh. Many survivors spent a third night outside, their homes destroyed or rendered unsafe by Morocco's most powerful earthquake. The death toll climbed to 2,122, with 2,421 people injured, State TV reported late on Sunday.
That's our package for you this afternoon, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and on behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching the bulletin. See you again some other time. Good afternoon to you. Bye-bye.
Wins the Ultimate Energy Personality of the Year at the 7th edition of your prestigious Ghana Energy Awards. Under the theme, Ghana's Energy Transition Framework, sector institutions as building block for the 2030 to 2040 target. You can nominate yourself or an institution for categories such as CEO of the Year, Energy Investment Impact Award, Energy Signature Award, Endorsement, Validation, Industry Partners, Media Partners. TV3 Ghana Energy Awards, 7 years of redefining excellence.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.
Body spray.
medicine. She's talking nonsense.